Welcome back to the channel, Madridistas and Spanish football fans. Today we bring you something amazing, the reaction of the French media, completely shocked after Spain's epic 5-4 victory over France in the Nations League. And the main reason? Lamine Yamal, the 16-year-old genius, put on a show and made the world stop to watch. In today's video, we'll see how the French reacted live, and of course, the video is fully dubbed into Spanish, so you won't miss a single detail. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and comment where you're watching from. And if you believe in the future of this kid, type Yamal Ballon d'Or in the comments. Let's go.
Was that a moment? Did you think to yourself they're going to do it? Honestly, yes. The 5-4 there. And then there was Colomboigny's shot just before when they pulled back from Marcola. He leaned back a little too much. Maybe a bit of a lack of confidence.
A specialist in missing legendary goals.
Then he heads the ball. So there's just a tiny bit of time. But at that moment, you really feel the Spaniards completely on their heels. The French, with every attack, are really, really dangerous and very incisive. At that point, I honestly thought the match would be balanced.
You scored a fourth just a tad too late. But if you score the fourth, say 5 or 6 minutes earlier, yeah. Because that free kick at the end, it wasn't a real chance. No. But I think if you score...
It was a bit oversold by Roman, sorry.
But me, huh? Why not the son who would buy better?
That's your least time, yeah. By the way, when the cross comes back to Randall and he puts it over the bar, you're like, just get it on target. We tell him, just get it on target, just on target. If you scored a fourth in the 85 or 86 minute, honestly, it's not the same game. So yes, we believed in it. And you both look frustrated in the footage there? A bit? No? Groggy? Frustrated? We went through all the... no, but honestly, I thought it was a great match. I mean, a match with 9 goals, a semi-final between two such strong teams. 9 goals, it's a total spectacle. There were moments of magic. We got to see Yamal.
Stefan, as for you, the outcome of the Champions League final, you told me Thursday at 3 p.m. Yesterday, we have a date because there's going to be a great match. Yes, coming out of the match, I have to say.
I set up the meeting with you. Thank you, Olivier. Yes, well, there you go. We saw a magnificent match. We really enjoyed ourselves. A match that must have pleased the president. And then the big news, the wonderful news of the evening, there's some wonderful news for France-Japan, and that's Carpi, of course. He's French now. It's official. He's shown. Everything's said.
All right, my friends, I'll give you the little questions, but for the others, you need to grab a pen and all that. Well, the French still conceded 5 goals. And which goal conceded by Les Bleus was the dumbest? Was it the first, the second, the fifth, or the fifth? Yamal MVP. Dembélé went off a bit injured. Is it a mask? Will it affect the race for the Ballon d'Or? Now, that's a question that will be of interest. Stefan Guy. Cherki, scorer, assist provider in short, he made a decisive impact tonight. Is that the real good news? This match, his entrance is the real good news. For Les Bleus tonight, maybe we'll talk about Cherki's future with the national team. And then rate Mbappé. What grade for Mbappé? We're going to see. Giovanni Castaldi. Giovanni, should we attach any importance to this defeat tonight? Does it mean anything? Are there things like that? That was the first question I was going to ask the guys.
Importance, I don't know, there were a lot of absentees in defense. What I really liked about this match, obviously beyond the spectacle, is this French team's ability to react. It's the end of the season and a lot of players don't have much left to play for. And seeing that energy, that impact as they try to come back into the match, I think that will matter. I also think that this experimental defense, the absence in midfield, especially Aurélien Tchouameni's absence was really felt tonight. I saw quite a few mistakes, so I think there are definitely some regrets to have this evening. Of course, there are some negatives, but also positives. Honestly, the way this French team responded, especially with Ryan Cherki coming on, could be extremely interesting.
In a few minutes, you'll have Rodier Deschamps with you. I hope so. Yes, you hope so. You do have a bit of influence after all. So the last time France conceded 5 goals, you have to go back to 1969. They lost 5-0 to the English and also 5-1 to the Yugoslavs. We haven't found any record of a 5-3, but in my opinion, our assistants on the third one, they'll 5-4, pardon me. I had seen a 5-4 loss. For 5 goals, you have to go all the way back to 1900. But that was a 5-0 for England. So the 5-4, we'll go check on that. Should we really give it that much importance? Thank you to this defeat tonight. French-style graphics, please. It's a little Marseillaise, but yes, it's not the grand one. Melissa, yes or no? Should we give importance to this defeat, yes or no?
It's more complicated. No.
No. He needs to give importance to his defeats. Yes, still. Yes. Stéphane, no. No. So, Jérôme, no. Ah, you're not in the super duel. No, it's fine. Dave, you choose your duelist because we're about to start the duel. Melisande. Melisande, here we go. Let's do it. Jingle, duel, Apadou, Gomez.
I don't know what I'm going to say.
No, but you're the one who starts.
Really, you decide, should we give it importance? Actually, you start, you give it importance. So you have meaning. You're going to give things, you're going to give it. She doesn't really see much worth remembering from this evening in the end. Let's go, Dave. You have 30 seconds. Yes, we do need to give importance to this defeat because for a very long time, Spain has outclassed us. There was still a 4-goal difference. It was 4-0 and then 5-1. So we were still going for Ratatouille route of the century. And then it's true that there was this surge of pride with the emergence of Cherki. So there you have it. Personally, I still think that for a very long time, we were dominated by this Spanish team. It could have turned into a disaster and we actually got off not too badly with this 5-4. I don't think this is a trivial defeat. I think it's a loss that's once again highlighted the gap that separates us from the Spanish. It can be insignificant. Okay, Melisande, what do you have to say in response to what you've just heard?
I think we also need to consider at what point in the season this is happening. This match took place when the players' form was unpredictable, both physically and mentally for some of them. We had a defense that was not at all the starting defense of the French team, and it's not so much the defeat that stands out to me, but rather the reaction, the emergence of Ryan Cherki at this level, and also the overall offensive output throughout the match. So it's not the defeat that I find important, it's more the team's performance. Once again, the defense was the usual defense of Les Bleus, so we're not that far from the Spanish team.
Okay, my friends, head over to the Twitter account. France, maybe? Some hope or maybe a misleading end to the match with Cherki's emergence. But Les Bleus struggled defensively. President, it's your turn. Melisande or Dave? Personally, I'm more on Dave's side.
I think it's important to give weight to this defeat, but we shouldn't forget anything. That is to say, we need to remember the end of the match. I get the feeling that that's all people remember, that France almost came back. I think Spain already had their minds on the final a bit. But above all, we mustn't forget that, as Dev said, it was 4-1 and 5-0. There was a 4-goal difference for a very long time, up until the 78th minute. And we also shouldn't forget that it was Cherki who got you back into this match. I think that if he wasn't there, I'm not sure you would have come back to that score. So you have to consider everything, but you mustn't forget anything, and not forget that there was a 4-goal gap at one point.
Jerome and Stéphane, you both answered no. Regarding the president's correction, at one point, it's true that it was turning into a thrashing. Yes, but if we analyze the match in segments, we can also say that France won the second half. They won 4-3 in the second half. But at one point, they didn't lose the first half. They should never have lost the first half 2-0.
I think that if it's 2-1 in the 78th minute, Spain doesn't concede 3 goals. From my perspective as a former player, I think the guys didn't give up. But at a certain point, you play a little less, you tighten up a little less. Personally, I felt like the last 25 minutes were like a testimonial match. Every time there was an attack, every time a team had the ball, there was a shot, a save by the goalkeeper, there was nothing left really.
In the first half, we're down 2-0. We're not completely outclassed. We just defend poorly because it ends up 4-0.
No, but that's it. That's a dividing line. The weapons weren't outclassed, but it was 4-0-5. But otherwise, you weren't outclassed.
No, you were playing with a defense you'll never see again. This match, from the blue side, was a defensive disaster. As you said, we've never conceded 5 goals since '69. It's a defensive disaster, but it's a defensive disaster from a team we'll never see again. We haven't seen the Englishman in 4 years, and we won't see him again.
The defensive disaster depends only on the 4 defenders.
I even think so. In this case, you have goals. It's really the first, the second, the fourth. The conceded penalty? No. It's a loss by Manu Kone and a foul by Rabiot. So in this case, but the defense is still at fault for at least 3 of the 5 goals. I can't remember the 5th one.
3 out of 5, I'm sorry. The penalty isn't on the defense. The first one, it's Theo Hernandez, who's used to playing, who doesn't cover for me on the second one, sorry. Who is at fault?
How was the first one played again? The first one is Aurélien Arzabal. The only 3-0 on its own.
It's a defender who's usually solid in his position, but he got caught and was outplayed by Aurélien Arzabal. I don't feel like the back 4 made the worst mistakes.
The only thing when you say...
There was a handball by Melisande on the 5th one. Again, that's not typical. For me, it's a defensive disaster.
The only thing that bothers me is that you... The 5-1. But what do you say about a team that's down 5-1 against the best team in the world and comes back to 5-4? Yes, there was a gap with... Yes, there are players. He's not alone. He's not alone. He's not alone. He's not alone.
He does everything.
He lights up the last half hour right at the end. But there are...
It can happen that there are good players on the team.
Yes, but he has a huge influence on that 5-4.
So, of course, when we sometimes analyze Spain...
You selected? You finally selected?
Yes, but we analyze Spain because I'm like you, I love Spain. But it's not because we pushed Spain around for 20 minutes at the end that we should downplay that on the pretext. No, because you said...
Don't put words in my mouth. What I said is that we only talk about the last half hour, obviously, because it's the end of the match. You're right. But we shouldn't forget everything that happened before.
You're right. That's not what I'm saying.
That doesn't mean minimizing what they did.
I'm just saying it's too easy to say their minds were somewhere else. I think we were hungry.
I think if Spain had been up 2-1, the match wouldn't have ended the same,
But still,
in my opinion.
no, of course. But against the best team in the world, I think you... Okay, there's Turkey.
But I saw something that I liked well. Not me, but I'm afraid that we'll end up saying that to ourselves. And in the end, they did. They had a reaction.
The reason it's incredible, but yes, believing at 5 in the corner, at 5 like a madman too.
I'm not sure that in 4 months you'll be playing the Spain team again. I'm not sure that one day, actually, I'm not in the same match. And about the 4-0.
Up until 4-0, it wasn't an absolute demonstration by Spain with 0 chances for the other side.
No, I never said that. I'm saying it was an open match. It was nice to watch. When you haven't done anything, and then at some point you say to yourself, it's 4-0, let's start playing. It's a score that looks. The 4-0 doesn't reflect the way the match actually went. Up to that point, they were extremely efficient. We defended very poorly. But when we came back in the second half, the start of the second half belonged to France. Then after that, you concede the penalty, but they had chances to come back to 2-1. There were 2 great opportunities right after coming out of the locker room.
The odd thing about the evening is the 0-4. You said they're going to lose 4-0 playing like that?
It's incredible.
Well, it can happen.
It's me who was surprised, you're right.
No, you're right.
No, definitely not. I gave you the score. The score is perfect. We lost and we deserve to lose. I just don't want a game like that. On the other hand, it's a score that reflects what we saw. We saw a rather disjointed match.
But wait a minute.
So the French defense is bad, but the Spanish defense is good. No, the 5-are. No, but Stefan, I think the offenses were very strong tonight.
A little game of 8 leading to the conclusion that ultimately the final score reflects Spain's superiority, but gives a balance of power that's, let's say, a bit more even than the 5-1, which is a little... That's what I understand. So in the end, the conclusion is still that Spain remains above us. Yes, but if you're telling me that this is just a trivial observation, we learn and... No, but there was...
Well, we really didn't have to.
It's not news, it's a confirmation. At least for the idea. The idea was still that at some point we could say that Les Bleus might catch up to this team before the match.
With the defenses you have one evening, people tell you, come on, this team, they're going to beat Spain. Not me personally. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Why not? Behind Spain, they're Tigers.
I don't think so, because you don't have a step up, not a balanced team.
On the French side today, Spain is already ahead, even today. Well, before this match. For me, yes. Spain is far above France. I'm not learning anything new tonight. They're above, yes. I really enjoyed myself. I got a real football match. I got everything in this match. But I'm not learning anything tonight. So it's not a trivial result. It's not an accident. Trivial would essentially mean that it has no significance at all.
No one said it was trivial.
Should we give all this importance? It's just that the result...
I'm very surprised that 3 out of 4 of you are saying, no, it's not a big deal, the result.
A little bit though, right? Every time there's something, it's a strange time of the season, it's a competition that's a bit different. In the semi-final, for a title, but every time we come up with excuses. We've been talking about this for 15 minutes. With that kind of defense, what do you expect to win in Spain? We're looking for every excuse to say it's a 4, it's normal. Every Nations League match I've seen, every time, I was at the Germany quarterfinal. It's true that Portugal-Germany yesterday, the guys just weren't playing. That match was kind of a mess.
Portugal-Germany, they just didn't feel like playing.
Actually, these are really open matches because there's quality, these are top-level teams, and there's not the pressure of a Euro or World Cup semi-final, which are really great matches. So you end up seeing matches that are much more open and much more enjoyable. Because here, they're not desperate, thinking to themselves, we lost the semi-final, it's just the Nations League. So it's great and all, but it doesn't have the same flavor as a World Cup or Euro final phase, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but in any case, I'm not upset about it. By saying the Blues, they lost the semi-final.
For me, I play here. No one is upset. No one has any excuses.
Really enjoyable matches.
Tonight, it's not written tonight, but in the end, you have to give it some meaning, something.
Yes, of course. But the truth is, it's 5-1. Turkey changes the match. Changes the end of the match. 100% agree. If there wasn't this Turkey and he stayed at 5-1, at one point, it was almost closer to 6-1 than to 1-1. At one point, more like 6-1 or 5-0.
It was just too much.
Yes, but there's no problem.
No, but that's it. Afterwards, not often, no.
You could say maybe there would have been a bit of fear.
Because you're 5-1 down in the 78th minute. So if for you it stays 5-1 and there isn't this reaction, what would you be saying tonight?
The reaction happened today.
It's not a... Yes, there was a reaction, but we've already said that. There's a reaction as far as I'm concerned for me. We were talking about Turkey. What he did on all 3 goals.
And then if it had been 2-2, people would have said if it had been 1-0, that's it. These aren't real debates. If for once they react well, it doesn't mean anything.
Ask Raul, ask Regis, weren't they just saying, is this a demonstration by Spain at 5-1? So we weren't saying it's not normal for it to be 5-1, actually. Everyone was saying, is this a demonstration?
But it's not 5-1, it's 5-4. Do we want to stop the match at 5-1 just to tell everyone what we think about the girls?
I want to see what happened during the match. We take the match at 5-4 and we say the French in 20 minutes, no. Because what you're actually doing, you don't watch the match, you see 5-4 and people tell you, oh, damn, that's great. France came back to 5-4. Me, I watched the match closely and I can tell you that if at 5-1 those 3 goals hadn't happened, I'm telling you we wouldn't be having this at all. The same debate, in fact.
There was a foul on the counter-attack. Dembélé, my friends, there was a foul. MVP of the match. In any case, well, there you have it. Maybe he's the player to highlight tonight. Dembele went off injured. Is this a match that will count for the Ballon d'Or? Obviously, both are up for consideration. MVP, please. Is this a match that will count for the Ballon d'Or?
Possibly, yes.
Possibly, yes. David Apadou from the France football team, is this a match that will count for the Ballon d'Or?
Well, notwithstanding my duty of discretion, everything counts.
There you go.
So yes, because our votes matter.
New debate. Oh, yes, from Mr.
The family, is it the web, mister? And, well, that's your name, that's the question.
And it will sort itself out in the greenhouse. I think it's going to be a total mess, I tell myself. But who gets the ball outside the region? The River of Peace? The longest one? No, that's it.
I'm never ashamed, not in my life. I hope not. I never hope for that, no.
All right, let's move on.
I think there are matches that were more memorable than this one. It might count a little, but still.
Then there is the States. For the Spanish, obviously, it matters since it's Yamal who takes the penalty. And for the French, it wasn't Dembele who took the penalty.
Yeah, so,
no, it was just a little aside. I think for the Spanish, it was the penalty of the match.
We have two favorites facing each other. There's a collision. Let me clarify something.
It's certainly true that in the match, Yamal was ahead of Dembele.
there you go. It's a huge match.
The thing is, the Ballon d'Or has become such a soap opera. There's also a narrative from the golden ballets. That's just how it is. That's the way it goes. I mean, there are the matches.
He's not really trying to fool us.
He was suffering, so
He didn't go to the match, after all.
I'm going to give him a red card now. If we could just finish for 2 seconds. What did Yamal say just before the match? He said, speaking to Dembele, he said, we've got it, finally, some pace.
It lasts 15 seconds, go!
It's all about double the pace. But it's not over, obviously. Shall we listen to Yamal 2 days ago? Shall we listen to Yamal 2 days ago? Shall we listen to Yamal 2 days ago? Let's go! Rhythm. Confident that Ren Musa will find it. I'm one of those who vote for the best player of the year. Because if Dembele or I aren't good on Thursday, who will you vote for? For another player who will play in the final on Sunday? But if you want to risk everything and play for the Ballon d'Or on Thursday, let's do it. He has nothing to believe in. Romain is all over that. Yeah, so there you go. As for me, about the cup, again, I think it means, friend, focus on same audience. I don't call you have to focus on summertime. Dutch economy means, friend, focus on summertime. It's minus the, I don't know about that. So if we double it, you told me, is that going to cut? I think it's going to count. Oh yeah, definitely counts. So that means actually there's one of the two. Who won the Champions League last week by playing a fabulous match? And we've already forgotten about that. No, I'm just asking a question. Yes. Me, if I have to choose, I consider. You were there on Saturday. You said it wasn't. And if he had played the Douai match, he would have gotten the Ballon d'Or. No, if I have 2 players to choose from. But we still gave him an 8. We gave him an 8. Yeah. You don't have 2 players to choose from. Do you have any? Just one. That's the whole problem. I have a final. I have one player who lost the Champions League in 2000 and the other one he won in 2000 with the European push. There's one who won the final. I don't know who won and who lost. But he won. He played well. No, but it was good. He didn't play a game that broke the mold. Yamal's semi-final, both legs, was exceptional. I think this is going to blow everyone away. Yamal, he has a side very, very good and decisive quality in big matches, whether for the national team or his club, the games he plays with Barcelona, or the big matches, the Clásicos, the Champions League semi-finals. If I were a voter, I'd vote there. A Nations League semi-final every time. He's incredible. I hadn't heard the statement. That statement is extraordinary. It's not about this debate. See you tomorrow at the church. Very well. He has 17 feet. He's melting down. There's Giovanni. What's going on? He's getting annoyed. He's scratching his head.
Now it's going to get intense. Not at all. Just grandma? No, but we just ran into Bradley Barcola, who was limping a little. Apparently he took a little knock to the knee. That's why I was rolling my eyes. It wasn't because of the set. No, regarding the Ballon d'Or debate, I feel like we didn't learn anything tonight. Personally, I wasn't expecting to see the Ousmane Dembele from Paris Saint-Germain. And I was expecting to see this kind of performance from Lamine Yamal. Actually, I think this debate between Ousmane Dembele and Lamine Yamal is really about how you view the Ballon d'Or and the voters' personal sensibility. Lamine Yamal is a better footballer than Ousmane Dembele. I truly believe that. He's someone who is in his prime, who has a very unique technical quality. He has done things that have impressed the whole world. And Ousmane Dembele is a player, an extremely important factor for the team collectively, which dominated the season and won the Champions League. By rewarding Ousmane Dembele, we're choosing the statistical leader and the pressing leader, a member, an essential part of the play of this great Paris Saint-Germain team. But there are many very good players, whereas Lamine Yamal, in my opinion, has much more of the talent to make a difference on his own, all by himself. and already a world-class player, so here it's really a matter of personal preference, and tonight's match proves it, in my opinion. Giovanni, among the powers you haven't granted me, I hereby make you the high priest of the Ballons d'Or. But he really laid it out well. Now, you truly have what it takes to work at France 2, because, well, I finally understand the rules of the Ballons d'Or. You could even run France 2 ballets and oversee the Ballons d'Or. That's already kind of the case, you know. No, but honestly, it's a matter of perspective. Either you reward the best overall in that case, it's Yamal, or if it's about the best on his team, then it's Dembélé. That's not entirely true because Yamal, within Barcelona's team system, he works really well too, doesn't he? Yes, he does, absolutely. He's not just an individual player. Oh, no, but that's the main argument for Dembélé team aspect. I think Yamal, you can also fit him into the team dynamic. No, but let's say do a summary, let's do a little, yes, but that's not true. It's impressive. Since the last Euro, it's been my friend Yamal. We had this debate where I was alone against everyone because everyone was saying the best player in the league was Mohamed Salah. I was saying it was Yamal. That was when? That was in December, 3 or 4 months ago. It's impressive. Actually, it's been 5 or 6 months. The level he shows every time, it's remarkable. There's never a moment when he messes up. There's never a moment when he disappears from the match. Even when his team is struggling, we saw it against Intreven when the team isn't playing well or is having a hard time. He always manages to perform at an incredible level.
And then there's something else. It's that beyond being an incredible and incredibly spectacular player who has a certain... There is the character, there is evil. I mean, just before El Clasico, which has maybe become the most anticipated match of the year again, and I think he was just coming off his semi-final. I mean, still...
Sorry? No, nothing.
No, what does he say? He says, if we consider goal to Real, or even if we consider second one, it doesn't matter. Anyway, every time we're going to win, we're always going to score one more goal. It's impressive every time to announce it beforehand. And that's exactly what happens. Plus, when Real is leading 1-0, 2-0, you think he spoke too soon again.
But then there's an aspect where he has fewer stats. We often talk about stats, but he has a bit fewer. The arguments are going to be about...
Stats, he has a bit fewer. In the criteria, there are no stats. There's the player's class.
135, 40 goals.
It's Mbappe, the golden beast?
Yes, of course. In relation to the content of these matches, I mean, Dembélé, it's true that he's been scoring since January. What were we talking about? About what? About the fact that he kept scoring and scoring? And there's a downside, it's true. That's what people criticize him for a little bit. It's not that he doesn't score, he just scores less than those guys, but still, yes.
Giovanni Castelvi, do you have any information about the operation that just took place for Bradley Barcola, which you wanted to comment on? The operation went well, successfully.
On the other hand, no, but we also ran into Aurélien Tchouameni. You know, Aurélien Tchouameni has been having some minor hamstring issues. He said we see about Sunday, but it's not impossible. So maybe Aurélien Tchouameni will be fit to play on Sunday. Just about the Lamine Yamal, it was the first time I had the chance to see him at the stadium. Of course, I knew about his flashes of brilliance, etc. What also impressed me was his sense of teamwork. I find that he's someone who tracks back a lot and wins back some really interesting balls. He's not afraid to put his foot in, even on the defensive side. And he never forces anything. It's incredible. He can beat players, as we know, but also the passing quality shows, the passing angles he finds. It's pretty amazing. People talk a lot about his dribbling and his shooting, but this kid's vision of the game is astonishing. Seen from the stadium.
Honestly, even the French media couldn't believe what they saw. Lamine Yamal didn't just play well, he made history. France had no answer. And what we're witnessing right now is the rise of a future legend. It's not every day that a 16-year-old dominates a semi-final like this. It's clear that Spain is building something special and Lamine is the center of it all. Let us know what you think. Will Spain take the title in the final? Leave your comment, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next reaction video. See you soon.